Oh, thank you, Caitlin.
What's on your teeth?
Oh, this is a little tag, Caitlin, that lets people know that I'm not going to take a blood transfusion.
What's a blood transfusion?
Well, a blood transfusion is when someone who's maybe sick takes blood from another person.
Ew, why would you want blood?
Well, sometimes doctors, when someone is very sick or is in an accident and they lose a lot of their own blood, feel that if they take someone else's blood, that it will save their lives.
Then why would you want blood in your body to get better?
Well, I certainly would want to get better. But, Caitlin, just because doctors say that a blood transfusion will save your life, it doesn't always happen that way. That's not really the reason Aunt Miriam won't take a blood transfusion. Let's see if I can explain it to you. Do you know who the smartest person in the world is, Caitlin?
If my mom tells me that God is the smartest person in the world.
And your mom is very right. And Caitlin, do you think that God would ask us to do something that would ask us not to do something that would hurt us?
No.
No, not at all. So what we're going to do is, I have my Bible here with me, and I'm going to show you what God says about blood. I'm going to have you read the scripture, since I know you're such a good reader, in the book of Genesis. And it's going to talk about someone that you may know. Do you remember who the man Noah was?
Yes, it was Noah's friend. He built an ark because there was going to be a flood.
That's right. And we know that Jehovah saved Noah. So we're going to read the instructions that Jehovah gave Noah after he saved him from the flood. So why don't you read Genesis chapter 9, and why don't you read verses 3 and 4, Caitlin?
Every living animal that is alive may serve as food for you, and as in the case of revivification, I will give it all to you. Only flesh with its soul, its blood, you must not eat.
Okay, so here the instructions to Noah were, what did Jehovah tell him he could eat?
The animals.
Yes, the animals, like we eat food from animals today. Well, what did Jehovah tell him he could not eat?
Blood.
The blood. That's right, he was not to eat it at all. But is that the only time Jehovah told man not to eat or take blood? Well, it wasn't, because thousands of years later, Jehovah tells us the same thing. And I'm going to read you that scripture, okay? It's in the book of Acts, chapter 15, and verse 29. Now, blood is something that is very sacred or important to Jehovah. And later on, we'll explain that when you get a little older. But let's see what Jehovah now tells mankind again. Okay? It's Acts chapter 15, verse 29. It says, to keep abstaining from things sacrificed to idols and from blood. Now that word abstaining is a big word, Caitlin. Do you know what that means?
No.
Well, it means to keep away from. Now, if Mommy were to tell you to keep away from something, do you think she would only mean that you could not eat it?
No, I don't even touch it.
Yes, don't even touch it. So, back a long time ago, Jehovah told Noah he could not eat it, and then he told us we were to abstain from it, not even to take it, so we wouldn't want to take it into our bodies. And Caitlin, earlier when we were talking, you told me, and you agreed, that Jehovah is the smartest person in the world, and that he cares for us very, very much. So he would never ask us to do something that would hurt us. Even though sometimes doctors or people tell us it would be good for us, if Jehovah says it's not, then we don't want to do it. And that's why Miriam and many Jehovah's Witnesses carry this, to let people know that they are going to obey Jehovah's law. Do you think that that's a good idea?
Yes, I do.
Well, that's good. And since we mentioned that account of Noah, you want to take a few minutes and we can read from the Bible storybook that account again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.